Hey guys, Elijah here from Retro Pocket. When people talk about SNES RPGs, they always bring up the same legends. Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger, and Secret of Mana. And yeah, those games are amazing. But in beneath all that hype is a whole world of forgotten gems that never got the spotlight they deserved. I've spent way too many nights digging through dusty cartridges, emulators, and obscure lists. And what I found honestly blew my mind. These games have insane stories, weird mechanics, and vibes you just don't see anymore. So if you think you've seen everything the SNES has to offer, trust me, you haven't. Let's uncover 9 hidden SNES RPGs that you need to play right now. In the meantime, drop your favorite one in the comments below. Treasure of the Rudras, Rudra no Hihō. The first title of this list is Treasure of the Rudras, which feels like that late-era SNES experiment every RPG nerd dreams about. I love how it throws me into a world that only has 15 in-game days left, and every dungeon crawl or story beat is literally ticking that clock down. The coolest hook, though, is the mantra system. Instead of scrolling a boring spell list, I'm typing in word combinations to invent my own magic. And the game actually turns those spells into different things that hit different elements or target types. It makes grinding fights way more fun because I'm constantly tweaking new mantras to see what breaks the combat. On top of that, juggling multiple protagonists whose stories overlaps means I'm always thinking, if I leave this item here, will another character find it later? It's clever, weird, and exactly the kind of hidden gem that feels tailor-made for RPG tinkerers. Emerald Dragon. When I started playing Emerald Dragon, it felt like I was playing a fantasy anime where the Dragon Kid actually gets to be the hero. What really sticks with me is how battles don't just copy the usual SNES menu routine. I'm looking at an overhead field, moving the main character around, and watching a time point bar drain as I act, so every step or swing matters. My party members are handled by the AI, which sounds scary at first, but it makes fights flow quickly, and frees me up to focus on positioning and when to unleash those big dragon attacks that trade away HP for screen-clearing damage. It's not the hardest RPG in the world, but there's something cozy about cruising through a heartfelt story where I'm this dragon trying to keep a promise to a human friend. For a Super Famicom-only release, it really feels like a how did I miss this kind of game. Live Alive. With Live Alive, I always feel like I've just booted up 7 different SNES RPGs at once, and somehow they all fit into one cart. One minute I'm sneaking through feudal Japan, the next I'm doing Wild West trap setting, then I'm in a far future horror scenario on a spaceship, all using the same tactical grid-based combat at the core. Each chapter messes with the formula in a different way. Some lean on stealth, some barely have battles, and some make me read minds or use special gimmicks to progress. So it never feels like I'm just running the same dungeon loop over and over. The emotional payoff is when all those separate heroes get pulled into a final chapter. And the game basically asks, okay, which kind of hero are you? It's ambitious, strange, and honestly feels like the prototype for so many modern experimental JRPGs that we call genius today. Seiken Densetsu 3, Trials of Mana. Seiken Densetsu 3 feels like I'm remixing my own custom SNES action RPG. Picking my trio from 6 different characters completely changes how the adventure plays out, from story beats to how my party feels in combat. Battles happen right on the field, so I'm constantly weaving between enemies, timing strikes, and lining up skills rather than flipping through menus. What I really dig is the class change system. Hitting key levels lets me branch into lighter dark paths, turning familiar characters into totally different specialists with new abilities and roles. It gives that addictive just one more grind session pull because I know the next class tier is going to open up new builds. And since this one has stayed Japan only on Super Famicom for so long, finally playing it feels like discovering the secret sequel to Secret of Mana that we all wished we had back in the day. Bahamut Lagoon. Bahamut Lagoon is the point where I realized I wanted more dragon raising in my SRPGs. On the surface, it looks like a tactics game, with squads moving on a grid and clashing in battles that play out up close. But the real magic is that each squad has its own dragon partner hovering nearby. I don't control the dragon directly. Instead, I shout simple commands like come, go, or wait, and then watch it either save my life with a clutch breath attack or completely roast the battlefield, terrain, and all. Between stages, I'm obsessively feeding these dragons items to change their stats and even evolve their forms, so it becomes this emotional pet-raising sim layered over a pretty crunchy strategy system. Watching a dragon I've raised from a little goofball turn into a monster that wipes enemy armies never stops feeling satisfying, and it makes this one of the most unique hidden SNES RPGs out there. Brandish 2, the Planet Buster. Brandish 2 always hits me as that SNES dungeon crawler that looks like an action hack and slash but secretly plays like a thinky, almost turn-based brawler. I'm stuck in these twisting, first-person style mazes, and every tap of the attack button is both offense and defense, so I'm timing hits in rhythm with enemies instead of just mashing. The game punishes me if I rush in. Even early bugs can wreck me if I don't back off and heal at the right time, especially since resting leaves me totally vulnerable and forces me to choose safe spots carefully. There's the usual RPG layer: XP, gear, keys, and secrets. But what really got me is that claustrophobic feeling of slowly mastering a hostile labyrinth. It's the kind of hidden gem where, once the controls finally click, I feel weirdly proud of surviving in a world that clearly didn't expect me to make it out alive. Illusion of Gaia, Illusion of Time. Illusion of Gaia is a 1993 action RPG developed by Quintet for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. In this one, I'm controlling Will, swinging a flute instead of a sword, and slowly unlocking these alternate forms like the Dark Knight Freedom and the Mysterious Shadow, each with their own reach and power. Combat is simple, but satisfying. Tight movement, a few special attacks, and that addictive loop of clearing every enemy in an area so it rewards me with stat boosts and opens a new path. What really hits me emotionally is how the game takes real-world inspired locations, like ancient ruins and legendary landmarks, and twists them into this haunting, almost lonely journey about sacrifice and fate. It's action-heavy enough to keep me engaged, but just mysterious and story-driven enough that I end up thinking about its mood long after I turn the SNES off. Terranigma. Terranigma is celebrated for its ambitious storyline centered on the resurrection of the world's civilizations, strong art and music direction, and smooth action RPG gameplay. I'm playing as Ark, running around in fast, responsive, real-time combat, jumping, sliding through enemies, pulling off multi-hit spear combos, so fights feel closer to an action game rather than a slow RPG. But the real hook is how exploration ties into resurrecting continents, reviving plants and animals, and even helping human civilization progress, which slowly changes towns and NPCs' lives as I go. Every time I see a settlement grow because of some quest I did hours earlier, it hits me that I'm not just grinding levels, I'm literally nudging this world forward. The emotional punch builds as the story goes from small village antics to heavy questions about life and sacrifice, making Terranigma feel like a once-in-a-generation hidden gem that every SNES fan deserves to experience at least once. Soul Blazer. So here we are on our last game, which is Soul Blazer. It always felt like I'm doing something bigger than just clearing dungeons. I'm putting a broken world back together, one monster layer at a time. Every time I seal a layer in those top-down action RPG stages, another villager, building, or creature pops back into existence in the overworld, and that loop never stops being rewarding. Combat itself is straightforward but snappy. Swing the sword, grab gear upgrades, and push deeper into each themed area while watching the town slowly repopulate with people who actually remember me as their savior. It's not the flashiest SNES game visually, but that mix of tight controls, eerie music, and the emotional payoff of literally seeing lives restored gives it a vibe you don't get in a more traditional save-the-world plot. For a so-called hidden RPG, it quietly nails that feeling of hope after ruin in a way that sticks with me. Alright everyone, that's all on these hidden SNES RPG gems. If you found even one new title you're excited to try, hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Don't forget to subscribe and let me know in the comments which of these you're planning on playing first, or what hidden RPG we should cover next. I'm Elijah, and thank you for watching Retro Pocket.